Barakathin Yahweh, Barakathin Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, Kwam Jasharala, greetings to the hopeful elect, and salutations to the 12 tribes of Israel, all the families. Alright, this is led by the Spirit, you know what I'm saying? We're high power with the Spirit, with the Rakakadash, you know, bright and shine, always on us. We're going to proceed to finish the last three chapters of the book of Kings, you know, chapter 20, 21, and 22, okay? Now, let's get edified, okay? Here goes. King Behadad of Aram gathered all his army together. Behadad means like heights, like high witnesses, you know what I mean, like a mass amount of witnesses, you know what I mean. And Aram means sons of Ra, sons of God, you know what I'm saying. And Aram means making noise, the sons of God making noise. And who runs, who's the Lord of this world, man? Baal's son, man, sun worshiping, you know what I'm saying. And this beef has been from day one, man. Enmity, you know what I'm saying, between the serpent seed, you know, because Nakash Nahish in the Hebrew, it's a snake serpent is associated with witchcraft, sorcery, divination, you know what I'm saying. So you know what I'm saying, the world, you know what I'm saying, legions, you know, versus the Israelites, you know what I'm saying. It's been like that, and history repeats itself, and this relates to what goes out now, right now, you know what I'm saying. So let's get edified. So they gathered all his army together. 32 kings were with him, along with horses and chariots. He marched against Samaria, the fortress, Israelites tower, laid siege to it and attacked it. Then he sent his messengers into the city to King Ahab of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Our brothers and sisters, that's what Ahab means, right? And said to him, "Thus says Ben-Hadad, your silver and gold are mine." I mean, your Christianity, your Catholicism, you know what I'm saying, your Muslimism, your worldly religions, you know what I'm saying, your worshiping, you know what I'm saying, are mine. Your fairest wives and children also mine. The king of Israel answered, "As you say, my lord, O king, I am yours and all that I have." Because there's other people sold out to this bullshit, The messengers came again and said, "Thus says Ben-Hadad, I said, the masses, you know what I'm saying, I sent to you, saying, deliver to me your silver, your gold, your wives, and your children. Nevertheless, I will send my servant to you tomorrow about this time, and they shall search your house and the houses of your servants, and lay hands on whatever pleases them, and take it away." Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land, you know what I'm saying, and said, "Look, now, see how this man is seeking trouble, for he has sent to me, for my wives, my children, my silver, my gold, and I did not refuse him." Because most of the people sold out to that. Even the ones that we came out from, from the gold standard. Then all the elders and all the people said to him, "Do not listen to or consent." Yeah, man, that's when we're awake now. So he said to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, "Tell the Lord, the king, you know what I'm saying, the son, he's worshiping worldly religions, king, you know what I'm saying, servant, the king, all that you first demanded of your servant I will do, but this thing I cannot do." The messengers of left and brought him word again. Ben-Hadad sent to him and said, "The gods do so to me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria will provide a handful for each of the people who follow me." Basically, you're condemned to the ground, tiller of the ground, to dirt. That's what, in Genesis it says, he will grab your heel and you will stomp his head, man, because these dirt, you know what I'm saying, they're made to be stomped on, you know what I'm saying, they're dust, you know what I'm saying. People follow me, right? The king of Israel answered him, telling him, "One who puts on an armor should not brag like one who takes it off." Yeah, basically now we're putting the armor of Yahweh Elohim, and there has been stripped, their fraud has been stripped, they've been exposed, you know what I'm saying. When Ben-Hadad heard this, the masses, coon Christians and all that, now he had been drinking with the kings in the booth, getting drunk off the fornication, the wine of the harlot. He said to his men, "Take your positions," and they took their positions against the city. Then a certain prophet came up to King Ahab of Israel and said, "Thus said Yahweh Elohim, have you seen all the great multitude?" Yeah, man, the world against the Israelites. "Have you seen all the great multitude? Look, I will give it into your hands today, and you shall know that I am Yahweh Elohim." Ahab said, "By whom?" He said, "Thus said Yahweh Elohim, by the young men who serve the district governors." Then he said, "Who shall begin the battle?" He answered, "You." Then he mustered the young men who served the district governors, 232 of them. After them he mustered all the people of Israel 7,000. They went out at noon while Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunken in the booth, he and 32 kings allied with him. The young men who served the district governors went out first. Ben-Hadad had sent out scouts, and they reported to him, men have come out from Samaria. He said, if they have come out for peace, take them alive. If they have come out for war, take them alive. But these have already come out of the city. The young man who served the district governor and the army that followed him, each killed his man. The Arameans fled, and Israel pursued them. But King Ben-Hadad of Aram escaped on a horse with the cavalry. The king of Israel went out and attacked the horses and chariot and defeated the Aramites with a great slaughter. Then the prophet approached the king of Israel and said to him, come, strengthen yourself and consider well what you have to do, for in the spring the king of Aram will come up against you. Salah, hallelujah. Those young men, you know what I'm saying, they serve the district is us, the great awakening, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? These, southern northern kingdom, these crusty prophets, in the highways and byways, you know what I'm saying, spreading the word, you know what I'm saying, swinging the sword of his words in these videos, in the streets, and everywhere we go, and we pursue these, all this multitude and the, sun worshiping people, and we slice them up because they can't fade us when it comes to the scripture, because the Rakakadash, glorified be your name, Yahweh Elohim, is with us, you know what I'm saying, through the grace and blessings of Mashiach Yahweh Shai, we got the Rakakadash, who teaches the Israelites. That's why, our understanding go beyond them and we slice them. That's what we're saying, man. Now let's proceed. The Arameans are defeated. The sun worshippers are making noise, basically. The servants of the king of Aram, you know what I'm saying, said to him, their gods are gods of the hills, so they were stronger than we, but let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they are. Also do this, remove the kings each from his post, and put commanders in place of them, and muster an army like the army that you have lost, horses for horses, chariots for chariots. Then we will fight against them in plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they had. He heeded their voice and did so. Basically, to infiltrate, you know what I'm saying, to the kings, you know what I'm saying, the real Israelites, you know what I'm saying, to infiltrate us with fraudulent, Israelite camps and celebrities, you know what I'm saying, to put, divide and conquer, the wickedness of these sun worshiping demons, you know what I'm saying, and of course the multitude, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna go try harder to recruit, you know what I'm saying. In the spring, Ben-Hadad mustered the Arameans and went up to Apec. That's the fortress, the fortified city, which would be right here, Babylon, and just the world scene, You know what I'm saying? Apec, to fight against Israel. After the Israelites had been mustered and provisioned, they went out to engage them. The people of Israel encamped opposite of them like two little flocks of goats, while the Aramites filled the country. A man of Yahweh Elohim approached him and said to the king of Israel, thus says Yahweh Elohim, because the Aramites have said, the Most High is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore I will give all this great multitude into your hands, and you shall know that I am Yahweh Elohim. Basically they wanted, on the scriptures feel they can't fade us, so they wanted to go with like, worldly, finances and civil things, whatnot. But you know what? Hey man, as long as we have a place to sleep, eat, and to clothe our man, that's the least, man. This work is what matters, you know what I'm saying? We're not of this world. So that he's the king of the valleys too, you know what I'm saying? You know? Thus says the Most High, because he's not the God of the valleys. Therefore, I will give all this great multitude into your hand, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. They encamped opposite one another 7 days. Then on the 7th day the battle began. The Israelites killed 100,000 Aramite foot soldiers in 1 day. The rest fled into the city of Apex, and the wall fell on 27,000 men that were left. Ben-Hadad also fled, the ones making noise, you know what I'm saying, and entered the city to hide. His servants said to him, look, we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us put sackcloth around our waists and robes in our heads and go out to the kings of Israel. Perhaps we will spare our lives. Basically, they because at the end of the day, these are 2/3 of our people. Some of them are already like, second guessing their flaws, which is a blessing, you know what I'm saying. But this proceed. Your servant Ben-Hadad said, and please, and went to the king of Israel and said, your servant Ben-Hadad says, please let me live. And he said, is he still alive? He is my brother. Yeah, because they are brothers, you know what I'm saying, even though they're wicked coons and sellouts. Now the men were watching for an omen. They quickly took it up from him and said, yes, Ben-Hadad is your brother. Then he said, go and bring him. So Ben-Hadad came out to him, and he had him come out into the chariot. Ben-Hadad said to him, I will restore the towns that my father took from your father, and you may establish bazaars from yourself in Damascus, as my father did in Samaria. The kings of Israel responded, I will let you go on those terms. So he made a treaty with him and let him go. Basically, you know what I'm saying, to restore, all the bribes and tithes and all the shit that, these pork chop Pastor Coons and them, ain't gonna rip to their own people. A prophet condemns Ahab, and, prophet condemns our brethren. At the command of the Most High, a certain member of the company of prophets said to another, strike me. But the man refused to strike him. Then he said to him, because you have not obeyed the voice of the Most High, as soon as you have left me, a lion will kill you. And when he had left him, a lion met him and killed him. Then he found another man and said, strike me. So a man hit him, struck him, and wounded him. Then the prophet departed and waited for the king along the road, disguised himself with a bandage over his eye. As the king passed by, he cried out to the king and said, your servant went out into the thick of the battle. Then a soldier turned and brought a man to me and said, guard this man. If he is missing, your life shall be given for his, or else you should pay a talent of silver. While your servant was busy here and there, he was gone. The king of Israel said to him, so you shall judge, so your judgment be. You yourself have decided it. Then he quickly took the bandage away from his eye. The king of Israel recognized him as one of the prophets. Then he said to him, thus says Yahweh Elohim, because you have let the man go whom I had devoted to destruction, therefore your life shall be for his life and your people for his people. The king of Israel was sent out towards home, resentful and sullen, and came to Samaria. Yeah, basically, the son of perdition, the one who gave you this religion, Esau, wicked, are people more likely to forgive him, because these fucking two-third wicked Selah Coon Jakes, man, they're willing to forgive Esau, man, but have no mercy on each other, man. That's what it's saying. That's what, that's what you gotta pay the price for your master. Selah, hallelujah for that. Selah, let's go to chapter 21, fam. Later, the following events took place. Naboth's vineyard. Place Naboth, that means a title, a name, an inheritance. Israelites, you know what I'm saying? Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard in Jezreel beside the palace of King Ahab of Samaria. And Ahab said to Naboth, give me a vineyard so that I may have it for a vegetable garden, because it is near my house. I will give you better vineyards for it, or it seems good to you. I will give you its value in money. But Naboth said to Ahab, Yahweh Elohim forbid that I should give you my ancestral inheritance. Ahab went home resentful and sullen because of what Naboth the Jezreelite had said to him, for he had said, I will not give you my ancestral inheritance. He lay down on his bed, turned away his face, and would not eat. His wife Jezebel, yeah man, that scheming bitch, scandalous, the spirit of America, came to him and said, why are you so depressed that you will not eat? He said to her, because I spoke to Naboth just right, and he said to me, give me your vineyard for money, or else if you prefer, I will give you another vineyard for it. But he answered, I will not give you my vineyard. His wife Jezebel said to him, do you not govern Israel? Get up, eat some food, and be cheerful. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth and Jezreel. Okay, man, basically, we were never meant to be Christians, Catholics, Muslim, or none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I, have, because, our brothers and sisters, they belong to all this shit, in here, in who they're married to, Jezebel, America, you know what I'm saying? So, we didn't want to, man, hey, man, if you think back, man, like, we didn't, like, convert to this garbage as religion out of our own choice, man. We were beaten to it, man. We were forced to it, man. You know what I'm saying? By Jezebel, by these fucking Edomites, man. These harlots. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal. She sent the letters to the elders and the nobles who lived with Naboth in his city. She wrote in the letter proclaiming a fast and set Naboth at the head of the assembly. A fast means that we lost our ways. They stripped us. They stripped us of our religion, our faith. Of our faith, our heritage, our whole, our language, everything, man. That's a fast. And set Naboth at the head of the assembly. set two scoundrels opposite of him, and have them bring a charge against him, saying, You have cursed Yahweh Elohim and the king. Then take him out and stone him to death. The men of the city, the elders and nobles who lived in the city, did as Jezebel had sent word to them, just as it was written in the letters that she had sent to them. They proclaimed a fast and seated Naboth at the head of the assembly. The Israelites and the head of the assembly. The two scoundrels came in and sat opposite of them, and the scoundrels brought a charge against Naboth in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth cursed Yahweh Elohim the king. So they took him outside the city, stoned him to death. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Nahab has been stoned, he is dead. As soon as Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, Jezebel said to Ahab, Go take possession of the vineyard of Naboth in Jerusalem, which he refused to give you for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead. As soon as Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, Ahab set out to go down to the vineyard of Naboth and Jerusalem to take possession of it. Basically, when they stripped us of it, Ahab and Jabal, that's southern northern kingdom, when they stripped us of us, they made us scoundrels. And you know, our coon sell out people back in the day too. They helped enforce this new doctrine, which is sun worship in Christianity, Catholicism, and all these other worldly religions. And that's what we're stoned to death with that, man. You know, glorify be your name, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, for your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Now let's proceed. Elijah pronounces Yahweh Elohim's sentence. Then the word of Yahweh Elohim came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Go down to meet King Ahab of Israel, who rules in Samaria. He is now in the vineyard of Naboth. Basically, two-thirds of our coon, wicked, sellout people, the Christian, Catholic, worldly religions, where he has gone to take possession. You shall say to him, Thus says Yahweh Elohim. Have you killed and also taken possession? You shall say to him, Thus says Yahweh Elohim. In the place where dogs lick up the blood of Naboth, dogs will also lick up the blood. Yeah, man. That's why two-thirds of our people got to go, because they also helped contribute to the slaughter that happened to southern and northern kingdom, man. Being enslaved, robbed, killed, raped, and all that shit, man. Ahab said to Elijah, Have you found me, O my enemy? He answered, I have found you, because you have sold yourself to do what is evil on the side of Yahweh Elohim. Yeah, man, you sold out. Two-thirds of the people. I will bring disaster on you. I will consume you, and I will cut you off from Ahab, every male, bond or free, in Israel, and I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, like the house of Baasha, son of Ahijah, because you have provoked me to anger and have caused Israel to sin. Also concerning Jezebel, the harlot, Babylon spirit, America. Concerning Jezebel, the Most High said, The dogs shall eat Jezebel within the bounds of Jezreel. Anyone belonging to Ahab who dies in the city, the dogs shall eat. Yeah, two-thirds of you people, coons, wicked, sellout people, you're gonna die with your master. And it's a shithole, Anyone of his who dies in the open country, the birds of the air shall eat. Indeed, there was no one like Ahab who sold himself to do what was evil in the sight of Yahweh Elohim, urged on by his wife Jezebel. Yeah, man, two-thirds of our wicked, sellout, and coons, people, man, they love, America, Jezebel, the harlot, the Babylon whore, and the demonic spirit of the harlot. They're married to it, and he sold out. He acted most abominable in going after idols. There you go. See, worldly religions, as Amorites had done, whom the Most High drove out before the Israelites. Europe, man. When Ahab heard those words, he tore his clothes and put sackcloth over his bare flesh. He fasted, laid in sackcloth, and went about ejected. Then the word of Yahweh Elohim came to Elijah the Tishbite, Have you seen how Ahab has humbled himself before me? Because he has humbled himself before me, I will not bring the disaster in his day, but in his son's days I will bring disaster on his house. Yeah, so that's what we have to pay the burden, of slavery, inquisition, man, being raped, being just fucking plagued, man. Well, let's finish it up with chapter 22, the end of the chapter of the first Kings. Joint campaign with Judah and against Aram, both tribes, southern and northern kingdom, against sun worshippers. For 3 years, Aram and Israel continued without war, but in the third year, King Jehoshaphat of Judah came down to the kings of Israel. The kings of Israel said to the servants, Do you know that Ramagil belonged to us? Okay, Jehoshaphat means Yahweh is my judge, And Ramagil is, the place of, like I say, it's the highest, the place where a lot of people, are multitude, are people, basically, You know what I'm saying? The king of Israel servant, do you know that Rahab belongs to us? Yeah, man, our people belong to us and belong to, they're Israelites, man. You know what I'm saying? It belong to us, yet are doing nothing to take it out of the hands of the king of Rams. Yeah, man. Like basically, like, till now, you know what I'm saying, we had to do something to speak this world, man, to see if we could convert some of our people, back to who they are, out of the sun worshiping. He said to Jehoshaphat, will you go with me to battle at Rehoboam? Jehoshaphat replied to the king of Israel, I am with you. I am as you are. My people are your people. My horses are your horses. Yeah, man. Southern and Northern Kingdom, man. We're the same people. We're family, man. You know what I'm saying? But Jehoshaphat also said to the king of Israel, inquire first for the word of the Most High. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 of them, and said to them, shall I go battle against them? Yeah, about 400 years, man, till we woke up, you know what I'm saying? And now, you know what I'm saying? Then it says here, Ramoth Gilead, this multitude, or should I refrain? They said, go up, for the Yahweh Elohim will give it into the hands of the king. But Jehoshaphat said, is there no other prophet of the Most High here of whom we may inquire? The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, there is still one other by whom we may inquire of the Most High, Micaiah son of Emiel. Yeah, Micaiah means who is like Yahweh, you know what I'm saying? That's what it means, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Son of Mel. But I hated him, for he never prophesied anything favorable about me. Yeah, man, because we have been scorned, you know what I'm saying? But only disasters. Jehoshaphat said, let the king not say such a thing. Then the king of Israel summoned an officer and said, bring quickly Micaiah, son of Imah, now the king of Israel, and the king of Jehoshaphat of Judah, were sitting on their thrones. Yeah, man, both standing together, son of the kingdom, arrayed in their robes at the threshold floor and the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets were prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, you know what I'm saying, that means, you know what I'm saying, that who, who judges, you know what I'm saying, who's just, supposedly, you know what I'm saying, son of Shenana, you know what I mean, that the Shenana means, torn to pieces, you know what I'm saying, that you exist for, for material things, for money, basic, worldly religions. Pastor Kuhn, these sellers, man, you know what I'm saying, made for himself horns of iron, said, thus says Yahweh Elohim, with these you shall gore the Arameans until they are destroyed. All the prophets were prophesying the same and saying, go up to Ramoth Gil and triumph. Yahweh Elohim will give it into the hands of the king. The two horns is, Christianity, Catholicism, and Islam, man, the things that have plagued our people. Now, it says here, Micaiah predicts failure. The messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah said to him, look, the words of the prophets with one according are favorable for the king. Let your word be like the word of one of them, and speak favorably. But Micaiah said, as Yahweh Elohim lives, whatever the Most High says to me, that I will speak. When he had come to the king said to him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we refrain? He answered him, go up and triumph, for Yahweh Elohim will give into the hands of will give you to the hands of the king, will give into you the hands of the king. But the king said to him, how many times must I make you swear to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of Yahweh Elohim? Then Micaiah said, I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep that have no shepherd, and the Most High said, these have no master, yet each one go home in peace. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I did not tell you that he would not prophesy. Did I not tell you he would not prophesy anything favorable about me, but only disaster? Then Micaiah said, therefore hear the words of Yahweh Elohim. I saw the Most High sitting on the throne with all the hosts of the heaven standing beside him to the right and to the left of him. And the Most High said, who will entice Ahab so that he may go up and fall at Raham Gilead? Then one said to another, and another said to another, all until a spirit came forward and stood before the Most High, saying, I will entice him. How the Most High asked him, he replied, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Then the Most High said, you are to entice him, and you shall succeed. Go out and do it, so you shall see. The Most High has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets. The Most High has decreed disasters for you. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the great delusion, the great illusion, deception, they believe, saying that, Mashiach is Edomite, and they believe in this worldly religion, our brothers and sisters, the two-thirds. Then Zedekiah, son of Shenana, came up to Micaiah, slapped him on the cheek, and said, which way did the Spirit of the Most High pass from me to speak to you? Micaiah replied, you will find out on that day when you go in to hide in the inner chambers. Yeah, basically, when judgment comes upon you. Then the king of Israel then ordered ordered, take Micaiah and return him to Amon the governor of the city, and to Oshash the king's son, and say, Thus says the Most High. Thus says the king, Selakia, put this fellow in prison and feed him on reduced rations of bread and water until I come in peace. Micaiah said, If you return in peace, the Most High has not spoken by me. He said, Hear your people, all of you. Yeah, basically, that's what we don't, we don't get that many hits or nothing. The Israelites were a very small number, because, we're meant to not, the Most High don't want to save, the world, man. He needs to get rid of it, Defeat and death of Ahab, it says, two-thirds of our people. So the king of Israel and king of Jehoshaphat of Judah went up to Ramonite. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go in battle, but you wear the robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself and went into battle. Now the king of Aram, the sun worshippers, had commanded the 32 captains of his chariots fight with no one small of great, but only with the king of Israel, basically with hopeful legs. When the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, It is surely the king of Israel. So they turned to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. When the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. But a certain man drew his bow and unknowingly struck the king of Israel between the scale armor and the breastplate. So it said to the driver of his chariots, Turn around and carry me out of the battle, for I am wounded. The battle grew hot that day, and the king was propped up to his chariot facing the Aramites until at evening he died. The blood from the wound had flown into the bottom of the chariot. Then about sunset a shout went through the army, every man to his city, every man to his country. So the king died and was buried to Samaria. They burned the king in Samaria. They buried the king in Samaria. They washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria. Okay, they washed Samaria. The dogs licked up his blood, and the prostitutes washed themselves in it, according to the word of the Most High and spoken. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab and all that he did, and the ivory house that he built, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the books of the annals of the kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his ancestor, and his son Asaiah succeeded him. Okay, I'm gonna stop it there real quick, man. Basically, is that when it says here that an unknown, but a certain man threw a bow and struck him in his heart and chest places, that some of our people, they're in this truth and they sell out. They compromise or they give in, like it says here, that the prostitutes and dogs, to the flesh desires of lust, sexual immorality, and all that. And that's why they didn't succeed. They defiled the name. The cause. That's why not everybody is Israelite. Now let's finish it. Jehoshaphat, son of Asai, began to reign in Judah in the 4th year of King Ahab of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Asuba. That means like desolation, lost, wilderness. Yeah, 'cause we're kind of lost. You know what I'm saying? Sura, daughter of Shiloh. Shiloh means weapon, armor. With sons of high power. Yahweh. He walked in all the ways of his father Asa. He did not turn aside from it, doing what was right in the sight of Yahweh Elohim. Yet high places were not taken away, and the people still sacrificed and offered incense on high places. Jehoshaphat also made peace with the kings of Israel. Basically, we didn't succeed because no one's going to deliver us. We're going to succeed only with Yahweh Shai's coming. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his power that he showed, and how he waged war, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? The remnant of the male temple prostitutes who were still in the land in the days of his father Asa, he exterminated. These harlots, saying Jezebel spirits. There was no king in Edom, Edomites. A deputy was king. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish type to go to Ophir for gold, but they did not go, for the ships were reckoned at Eastern Gomer. Basically, Eastern Gomer means your backbone. That we didn't have the, we didn't break through. Then Ahaziah, son of Ahab. Ahaziah means understanding, the name of the Most High. Son of Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, Let my servants go with your servants on the ships, but Jehoshaphat was not willing. Jehoshaphat slept with his ancestor and was buried with his ancestor in the city of his father David. His son Jehoram succeeded him. Ahaziah, son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel and Samaria in the 17 years of King Jehoshaphat of Judah. He reigned 2 years over Israel. He did what was evil in the sight of the Most High. See, our people didn't, they couldn't fall through. Only Yahweh Shai can deliver us. And walked in the ways of his father and mother, in the ways of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who who caused Israel to sin. He served Baal and worshipped him. He provoked the Most High Yahweh Elohim of Israel to anger, just as his father had done. Selah, hallelujah. Okay, that's the conclusion of the first book of King. As it stands, right now, our people still sun worshiping, idol is losers. Not that, no, shalom.